Hello and welcome to the Next Gen Racing YouTube channel for our weekend preview. And what's going to be a fairly brief weekend preview. How we have got one of the classiest races of the season in the King George and Queen Elizabeth Stakes. But we are going to look at two other races, which will include the York Stakes coming from York on Saturday, and we'll also include the International Stakes, which is the big handicap on Saturday prior to the King George. Jack and I have been very, very busy. We've been previewing Goodwood. You're going to be able to see our part one preview looking at days the first and second day, Tuesday and Wednesday. That will come to you tomorrow night. It's been a fantastic video with some very interesting calls in some of the races and a bit of a shock decision from Jack. So definitely worth catching. It's a very funny preview to watch. But we'll kick things off with Saturday's racing here with the 3:15 at York. This is the York Stakes, and looking at the betting here, we've got Claymore 11-8, we've got Dubai Honour 11-4, Dubai Future 4-1, Sabusca's 12s, and then Dark Moon Rising is 25-1. This over a mile and a quarter, Jack, and I think looking at Claymore, obviously the horse that kind of spoilt the Queen's Jubilee party at Royal Ascot with Reach for the Moon, unfortunately finishing second at short odds. But Claymore has been a horse that's been fairly well respected. A lot of people fancy this horse going into the French 2000 Guineas. Didn't quite happen, but has shown himself to be quite a decent horse. But 11-8 could be a little bit short. I mean, Dubai Honour was the horse that finished second to Seal Away. I know that was soft ground that day. Potentially this horse is going to want soft ground again. What do you make of it? It's a bit of a messy race, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not a very strong York Stakes whatsoever. I mean, I think it's 4 of the last 12 winners ran in the Coral Eclipse. I mean, none of these are Group 1 horses by a long stretch of the imagination. But look, I mean, look at the last 12 winners. There's not one 3-year-old there, so it surprises me that Claymore is such a short favourite. I mean, of course, beating Reach for the Moon in the Hampton Court was a lovely performance. They'll have to give him £9, so it is fair enough. Dubai Honour hasn't really got that Champion Stakes form back just yet, so Buska's in there at 12-1. So I mean, it's a race that I won't be having a bet on. If I was going to stick my neck out for anything, it would be Dubai Future. I thought the win in the Wolverton was very impressive. Saeed bin Sarur kind of has an air of animosity around him, I think, especially with raiders that come over from Dubai, so it'd be interesting to see how he gets on. I mean, beating Cadillac by 3 lengths, I thought it was a great performance. I thought that was quite a strong listed contest, I think it's fair to say, and hopefully Dubai Future goes well.
Okay, yeah, 1% at a price that is, because you're taking on the two favourites there at shorter odds. I do think Claymore is going to win it. It's not a race again, like Jack said, not a race I'm going to be betting on, to be totally honest. I'll be saving my pounds for Goodwood next week for sure, because I just think that look, it's a muddly race. Dubai Honour could return back to form, like Jack says. Dubai Future could be very fascinating after the Wolverton win. And Claymore could just be the class act and could, continue improving with Kirby on board. So a race we're going to be leaving alone, but hopefully we'll get into a race now, or a couple of races that we won't be leaving alone. And we start off with the 3 o'clock at Ascot, which is the 7 Furlong International Stakes. This is the Heritage Handicap, Class 2 Handicap, and Jumbly is your 5-1 favourite here. Dark Shift 6-1, Air to Air is 8-1, Fresh is 17-2, Tactical 10-1, Chief of Chiefs 12s. Bless Him, the winner from Newmarket's July Festival, 14-1, and then we're looking at 16-1 and bigger the rest in here. I can understand why Jumbly's so short, just due to the fact this horse has been running really consistently well. Holly Doyle's books, and I've got a feeling this horse has got a win in him. Dark Shift, obviously the Royal Ascot winner, that had James McDonald on that day, got William Buick on Saturday, and I wouldn't say that's a massive put-off. Bless Him was obviously so good the last day. He's got to have the race run to suit. Jamie Spencer is just made for this ride. He really is. Whether this horse can do it again, I'm not 100% sure. Ropey Guest ran a good race that day for the Marcusons. I'd love to see that horse run big again. A Star of Orion, a horse that I thought would be potentially missing this race and going to Goodwood for a crack at the Golden Mile, but they've decided to go back to Ascot where things went wrong the last day at Royal Ascot. Didn't work out a Newmarket for this horse, but I think Ascot might be able to regenerate a little bit of form. I think Jumbly's going to win. It's a short price. I'd be backing this as a win bet, not an each way bet. I think this will be the last chance for me giving Jumbly an opportunity. I think 5-1. the price it is because of what this horse has done has been so consistent. You expect this horse to be hitting the frame, but I do think that if we were to go with an each way one, I would say Star of Orion. I've said all season this horse got a big handicap in him, and I can't give up here. So I don't think that's the worst price in the world, 16-1. Rob Hornby obviously riding out of his skin over the last few weeks, with especially those 2 Group 1 winners at the Newmarket July Festival. So I'm going to go with Jumbie to win, and Star of Orion's an each way playing here. Jack, what are you going to go with?
Yeah, I think Star of Orion has a cracking chance. He's definitely going to be my selection. I backed him at Ascot actually when he finished 13th, a luckless 13th as you said as well, but he was second in this race last year, and if you look at that race, I think it was the fastest ever time clocked over 7 furlongs when Daniel won. Laura Pearson was on board claiming 5 that day, but he's a pound lower than that without the claim, off a mark of 96. As you say, I think he does have a big handicap in him this year. He really does enjoy the 7 furlongs over Ascot. Yes, the 13th and the 8th in big fields perhaps don't suggest that, but he definitely does enjoy 7 furlongs on quick ground. We saw that last year. He's a pound lower, and he's still available at 16-1. I think it's a cracking price, and hopefully he'll go well.
Okay, yeah, potentially a decent each way shout then. I'm hoping that he runs a big race. I've been screaming out for him to win a big handicap, and I'm hoping that Star Run does the business for me because, well, not going to run in the Golden Mile now, so at least try and get some money back on that anti-post bet that I had on him. Hopefully he can go and do the business on Saturday. Now we'll do a runner-by-runner guide for the next race, which is the big one. This is the King George VI from Queen Elizabeth Kipco Stakes. It's a small field, but a hell of a field. It really is. Westover is your 6-4 best price favourite. Emily Upjohn 11-4. Mishriff is 7-2. Torquata Tasso. Everyone hates hearing the word shock arc winner. I think the trainer's tired of hearing that, but yeah, the shock arc winner is 12-1. Broom is 25-1, and then Pile Driver 28-1. Let's start from the bottom like we usually do in these big races, Jack. Pile Driver first. A horse that definitely needs to refine a fair bit of form. Obviously won the Coronation Cup at Epsom a couple of years back. Hasn't really come to that form since, but look, probably the price is in a 6-runner field because there's just no form really there at the moment.
Yeah, I completely agree. PJ McDonald hasn't been on board since 2019 as well, of course. Martin Dwyer and Frankie Dettori's been on board. Be interesting to see how he goes. He's won, of course, over course and distance, but look, the price suggests with only 2 places each way, it'd be hard for him to get in the frame.
Yeah, agreed there. Broom, the Hardwick winner, a lovable horse for Aidan O'Brien. I've absolutely loved this lad, and what an amazing performance. A great ride actually at Royal Ascot. This horse is 25-1. I think just the ability of sort of some of the younger horses and up and coming horses is the reason this horse is at a bigger price.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think 25-1 is probably a touch overpriced. I think it's a bit harsh on him. Okay. I thought he still did win the Hardwick by 3.5 lengths, albeit a Ryan Moore masterclass. Yes, he has to refine that form. Probably, I'd say, produce a career best. Is he going to find that at the age of 6? Who knows? But hopefully he goes well.
Okay, yeah, hopefully so. Like I say, a really lovable horse. Torquata Tasso, a horse I know you're going to want to talk about. 12-1. Obviously won the Arc last year on softer ground.
Did he? Sorry. I haven't been able to gloat at all. He hasn't been
come
out,
on
really.
Now. That is out your Twitter bio now, isn't it? You didn't have it in there.
No, it's still in there. Yeah. Still living off Torquata Tasso.
We've got to wait until October till Jack can take that out, I guess, until the next Arc run. But Torquata Tasso, then, a horse that you obviously love. You know, you've got to go over your head and over your heart here, but probably going to be potentially out of his depth with this lot in here.
Oh, 100% on the ground as well. He hasn't won on anything quicker than good, and that was back in 2020. So I think he's got a huge amount to find, especially on this ground. Okay,
yeah, agreed. Mishriff 7-2. James Doyle taking the ride for the first time here. Obviously, the news with regards to David Egan not riding this horse and not riding for the owner moving forward. Obviously James Doyle, a fantastic jockey, a man that you want to have on board. I was listening to what he said on Sky, saying that he's going to have to chat with David Egan at some point, and potentially a lot of people said a horse that was unlucky not to win the Eclipse.
Yeah, I agree. First of all, I'm gutted for David Egan. I don't know if there's been a big falling out or whatnot. I think it's so harsh for what he did in the Shima Classic, the Saudi Cup. He's given him some the Juddmonte as well. He's given him some unbelievable rides, and for one slight pocket to kind of get in between him and of course Mishriff, they've been such a good partnership. I think it's very harsh. I mean, of course he did run a great race in the Coral Eclipse. Is he going to be good enough here? Who knows? Of course wasn't good enough on Champions Day. Perhaps doesn't really like the 1.5 mile Ascot, although he was only beaten a length and 3/4 by Dale in this last year. I do think he needs another step forward. Perhaps I even say he's perhaps a tiny little bit too short at 7-2.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I think the horse is a 10 furlong horse, and I'm not sure whether this horse is a 1.5 mile horse. I think this horse is better over 10. A strongly rung 10 would suit this lad. Emily Upjohn, 11-4. In new ownership, from what I know, Lloyd Webber is now the new owner of the horse. Obviously missed the Irish Oaks. That wasn't the intention. They didn't intend to miss the Irish Oaks. It was an issue of getting the horse over there. So this horse would have probably run, as there's been no issues. But 11-4, getting some weight as a filly in here. An unlucky Epsom Oaks loser. Where do we stand on her?
I think she's got it all to prove up against the boys. I think for the first time since her debut, she does have the 3-year-old allowance and the fillies allowance. Yes, she was quite unlucky in the Oaks. Tuesday hasn't really gone and franked that form. I think it's fair to say the Oaks form is still kind of a little bit up in the air. Nashua, of course, has franked it, but of course that was over 1.25 miles. So over 1.5 miles, I think she does have it all to prove against kind of the proven force of a Mishery or a Broome and even a Westover.
Okay, yeah, and we get on to Westover now. 6-4 favourite. Rafe Beckett and Colin Keane with the ride. Loads of speculation about who would get this ride. It's going to be Colin Keane coming over. Obviously won the Irish Derby on this lad here. Potentially a horse they said was unlucky in the Epsom equivalent, but absolutely romped up in the Irish Derby. Form of that race probably wasn't great. It wasn't a great Irish Derby other than Westover. We know that. But look, he absolutely destroyed the field. Is he the most likely winner?
Yeah, I think 6-4 is still a fair enough price. He's the improving 3-year-old. He got unlucky in the Derby to the Epsom Derby to finish third. That was, and of course made amends in emphatic style in the Irish Derby at the Curragh. I mean, he even beat Cash at Sandown over 1.25 miles, which I think is a great bit of form. The one thing I find quite interesting is they originally jocked off Rob Hornby, of course, because of Colin Keane's course form, but I think Rob Hornby actually has a better strike rate at Ascot than Colin Keane. Yeah. So rather contradicting, but it's very hard to jock off Colin Keane after a 7-length classic winner like that. But look, as you say, the form's not that deep. He did everything asked of him. He's got the 3-year-old allowance, and I think he is just going to win.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that, look, Judgment like to use Colin Keane over in Ireland. It's a Judgment decision, I would have thought. And look, Rob Hornby's a fantastic rider. He's going to get his opportunities, but like I say, Colin Keane is just he's got to be up there as one of the top 5 jockeys in the world at the moment. I really, really like him. So you're going to be with Westover?
Indeed I am.
Yeah, I'm going to be with Westover as well. I think I completely agree with you. I think Emily Upjohn's really got to prove it. I think Mishriff, like I said, I'd rather see this horse over 10 furlongs. I think the Judgment will give this horse, I think this horse will run a big race again in the Judgment this season. Qatar needs it softer, and I just think Broome and Par Driver are a bit out of their depth in here. So yeah, Westover for myself. And Jack, I'm not going to bother with naps this week. If I was to say my best bet, it'd probably be Westover, but it's not going to be a confident one. I don't want to sort of, tell you viewers that Westover's a definite winner, but if out of the 3 races, I'd say Westover's the most likely, and you probably agree, would you?
Yeah, but I'd probably nap up Star of Orion each way.
Okay, yeah, you can do that. I don't know if we'll have them on screen, but I'll make that decision because we do have Goodwood. We're focusing mainly on Goodwood now. The people who follow this channel, you know that even straight after Cheltenham, we start talking about it. It is our favourite week of the year, and like I said at the start of the video, you can see our Part 1 preview tomorrow night looking at Goodwood Cup Day and Sussex Stakes Day, where we're also joined by Olivia Cold. She'll give us her opinions on international international horses coming over 4 races.
Long day.
Honestly, I tell you, it has been a long day filming some of the Goodwood stuff. But yeah, she'll give her opinion on all the international raiders coming over. I'm looking forward to having her on. Do check that out. But yeah, let us know who you're backing this weekend. Like and subscribe as always. And thanks for watching.